Hello, hello, my amazing artists. We're going to be talking about the shapes of our fish and making our fish for our project. You can see here there are a couple of options for you, okay, and I'm going to show you how to make them in a minute. You're going to need a black crayon or a black Sharpie, that's up to you, something to color with, a pair of scissors, and some smaller pieces of paper. This helps us keep our sizing correct. Alright, like I said, here are some of the options for you. You can see that some of the bodies are more rounded on the front. Some have a pointed front. Some bodies are skinnier. Some have, this one has a fin on the top. They're all choices for you, and all of these fins are a little bit different, okay? Whatever fish you choose, you want to make sure that you like it, because we're going to be using it as a stencil. I have a couple of options here as well. Triangle fish. This one has more of a styled tail. Okay. So, let's talk about drawing these. The first thing I want to do is get my proper sizing down. We're going to be making 3 fish for our project, and we're going to be making the first one as a stencil. Alright, so we're going to create our own tracing shape. I start with the body first. And I know that I have to leave space for my fin, so I don't want to make my body too big. I usually pull my lines towards me, and I want to fill up this space. This one, I'm going to make it with its mouth open. I don't want to come to a point here, because if I come to a point, it's going to be really hard to cut it out later. Okay, the fin will fall right off. I want to leave some space. I can fit a finger between here. Next, I have to decide on my fin. Most of them start with this line, and then I have to decide that back fin. There were so many choices. Let's look at them again. This one's interesting, but if I draw a zigzag line, I have to be able to make sure that it's easy to cut out. I do like that one. I do like that one. Man, I like a lot of these. But you know what? I think for my project, I'm just going to keep it simple. Slightly curved line. Okay. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get out my scissors. I'm going to carefully cut out on the black line. I still want to keep the black line, though. Be right back. Okay, so I carefully cut out my fish, made sure I kept my black line. Next thing, I'm going to use this as a stencil. So I got to fit it on the paper again and carefully trace. Now, make sure when you do this, your fish isn't wobbling around or moving around on you. Okay, if your stencil is moving, you won't get the same exact shape. If your stencil is moving, you can always ask a friend to help you hold your paper down. That's a good technique. If it's hard for you to trace in black crayon, you can always trace in pencil and go over your pencil line with black crayon. So I made another fish. I need to make one more. So we're making 3 fish for our project. So I've carefully cut out my 3 fish. And now I'm ready to start talking about patterns. Okay? And decorations and what we're going to put on these fish. I know that I definitely need to add some details before I start adding the decorative patterns. And I don't have to make all of the fish the same, okay? they're already the same shape. They don't have to have the same patterns. I do want to make sure, though, that I add some eyes. And the eyes are all the same on these fish because they're the same shape, so they should have similar eyes. Simple eyes are good. And I want to make sure that I cut off the spot between the tail and the body so I have different sections to work with. And I just draw that on. Ah, I'm really proud of my fish. Now, I did say I wanted to make patterns on these fish bodies. Where do we get our pattern ideas from? We can look around the room. We can think about different lines and different shapes. We can think about different colors. Pattern inspiration is all around us. Even on the bottom of your shoes, I'm sure there is patterns. So get some inspiration and think before you draw. If you want to draw in pencil first, that's fine. But remember, don't draw small. You can't trace a tiny line in black. It's hard to do. Keep it simple and have some fun. So here's an example of some of the patterns that I chose for my fish. Of course, you do not have to copy mine. I hope you don't. I hope you come up with your own patterns and designs. When I'm finished drawing them, I know I left enough space so that I can easily color them in. After I'm finished coloring them, I'm going to arrange them. Look, here's my background that we made before. I'm going to arrange them. That means putting them on my paper and deciding where I want them to go before I glue them down. Maybe I want to switch this one with this one. Maybe I want this one going a little bit behind some of the seaweed. Not too much, but just a little. Another thing to note is that if your seaweed is popping up too much or falling down off the paper, you can always take some glue and tack it down near the top if you have to. All right, boys and girls, I hope you're having fun. Get creative.